You are in seat 14C. The flight is boring. The soda is flat. Nothing is wrong. And then the airplane is gone, and you are sitting in a chair at 35,000 feet. Everyone assumes this is the end. The good news, and it is genuinely good news, is that everyone is wrong. People have done this and walked away. By the end of this, you will know how, and you will know the 3 minutes that decide everything. This is the nightmare. It is the one most people are actually picturing when they grip the armrest during turbulence. Not a crash. The fall. Falls from extreme height feel like a guaranteed death sentence. And usually they are. I am not going to lie to you and pretend the odds are good. But that sliver of people who lived is bigger than you think. And the reasons they lived are things you can actually understand. 3 real people fell out of the sky with no working parachute. 1 from higher than a cruising jet. They all lived. We are going to walk through exactly what happened to their bodies and yours on the way down. Start at the top, where you are now. 35,000 feet. The first thing that hits you is not the falling. It is the air. It is around minus 50 degrees up here. Cold enough to be a serious problem on its own. But the bigger issue is that there is barely any air to breathe. At this altitude, your brain has less than a minute of useful consciousness. Pilots train for this. It is the window before the thin air quietly switches you off. So here is the strange part. For the first stretch of the most important fall of your life, you are unconscious. You black out near the top, and you fall as dead weight. And weirdly, that is fine. As you drop, the air gets thicker and warmer. The same descent that started the problem also fixes it. Lower down, there is enough oxygen again, which means if nothing else has gone wrong, you are going to wake up. The question is how much time you have left when you do. While you are out, you are accelerating. Gravity is pulling, air is pushing back, and for the first few seconds, gravity wins. You get faster and faster. But not forever. After about 12 seconds and 1,500 feet, the air resistance pushing up exactly matches gravity pulling down. You stop speeding up. This is terminal velocity, and for a falling human, it is roughly 120 miles per hour. Here is the twist that changes the entire video. Once you hit terminal velocity, falling farther does not make you hit the ground any harder. A fall from 35,000 feet and a fall from 3,000 feet end at the same speed. So the height that terrifies you, the sheer distance, is not really the thing that kills you. Past about 2,000 feet, extra altitude just buys you more time in the air. The whole game is that final 120 miles per hour and what you choose to do with it. And you do have a small amount of control. Spread out flat, arms and legs wide, and you catch more air. You will not float, but you can shave your speed down a little. When you are landing at 120, every little bit is a little bit you get to keep. Now the people who actually lived this. Meet Survivor 1, Vesna Vulović, a flight attendant, January 1972, working a flight over what is now the Czech Republic. A bomb tore the plane apart in mid-air. She was in the tail section. As the plane came apart, she was trapped inside that chunk of fuselage, pinned in place by a food cart. She fell around 10 kilometers. That is roughly the height a passenger jet cruises at. It is the highest fall anyone has ever survived without a parachute. And it is still in the record books. She lived because she never fell as a loose body. She fell wrapped in a piece of the plane, which absorbed part of the impact, and she came down on a steep, snowy mountainside that slowed the wreckage instead of stopping it dead. She was badly hurt. She recovered. She went back to working for the airline. She set the upper limit for what a human can survive, and the limit is higher than anyone expected. Back to you. You come to somewhere around 10 to 15,000 feet in air thick enough to think in. You are flat, you are fast, and you have maybe a minute. This is the part you can actually influence. Step 1. Get flat and wide. Maximum drag, minimum speed. You already know why. Step 2. Pick where you land. And this is where most people get it exactly backwards. Do not aim for water. At 120 miles per hour, water does not have time to move out of your way. Hitting it is almost the same as hitting concrete. The lake is a trap. What you actually want is anything that stops you slowly instead of all at once. Deep snow, a thick tree canopy, dense brush, soft, marshy ground. The goal is not a soft landing. There is no soft landing. The goal is to spread the stop across as much distance and time as possible, so your body is not asked to go from 120 to 0 in 1 inch. That is the whole secret. Survival is not about the height. It is about the stopping distance. Every extra foot of squashy, breakable stuff between you and solid rock is a foot that might keep you alive. Survivor 2, Juliane Koepcke. 17 years old, Christmas Eve, 1971, flying over the Peruvian Amazon. Lightning struck the plane, and it broke apart in the storm. She was thrown out, still buckled into her row of seats. She fell around 3 kilometers, spinning, attached to that bench of seats the entire way down. 2 things saved her. The spinning row of seats acted a little like a clumsy parachute and a cushion. And she came down through the thick canopy of the rainforest, which broke her fall layer by layer, instead of all at once. The stopping distance again. She hit the ground alive with a broken collarbone and not much else. Then she spent about 11 days walking and wading through the jungle, alone, until she found people. She did not just survive the fall, she survived everything after it. But the fall, the part everyone calls impossible, the canopy handled. Survivor 3, Nicholas Alkemade, a British tail gunner in the Second World War, 1944, in a bomber that was on fire and going down. His parachute had caught fire. His choice was to burn with the plane or jump without one. He jumped from around 18,000 feet into the dark with nothing. He fell through a stand of palm trees, which slowed him branch by branch, and landed in deep snow. He stood up with a twisted knee and a few bruises. That is it. Same lesson, 3rd time. Trees and snow gave him the distance to stop. The height never got a chance to matter. So back to you, falling toward the ground with about a minute of life experience as a skydiver. Could you survive? Honestly, the odds are bad. I am not going to pretend otherwise. Most people in this situation do not make it. But bad is not 0, and you now know the 3 levers that move the needle. Slow yourself down with drag. Aim for the softest, deepest, most breakable thing you can reach, and never the water. And give your body the longest possible distance to stop. Do all 3, get a little lucky, and you join a small, strange club of people who fell out of the sky and live to be annoyed about it. The height was never really the enemy. The sudden stop was. And the sudden stop is the one part you get a say in. So the next time you are gripping the armrest at 35,000 feet, you can relax. Statistically, you are extremely safe. And in the 1 in 100 million case that you are not, you finally know the plan. Next time, the ground itself decides to keep your leg, and everything the movies taught you about it was a lie. Subscribe so you are ready for that one too. You never know which of these you are going to need.